This is the cheapest new camera that money can buy. I didn't have the highest hopes for it until I saw the images on the listing. It looked to me like Progress had used an expensive camera to take those pictures and then just photoshopped it onto their product screen. But surely doing that without a disclaimer would be false advertising, right? So I gave them the benefit of the doubt and I bought the camera. Now I've tested it out and I'm going to share my findings with you. If the company has been honest and the photos really are that good, then I'll be praising their innovation and I definitely won't sue them for misleading children. So first of all, unboxing this camera made me think about the pace of technology. A micro SD card like this would have cost nearly $200 in 2007, but today it's included for free with a $20 camera. So maybe it is possible for a camera like this to capture an image like this. But when I turned the camera on, I started to lose hope. If I'd saved up to buy this camera as a 10-year-old budding filmmaker, I bet I would have been pretty disappointed with the images and probably would have blamed myself for not using it properly. But the thing about this camera is that you can try every button and every mode, but there's no way to set the exposure manually. The camera always just guesses what exposure to use and adjusts it ungracefully while you're recording. And there's no way to turn off the date and timestamp feature, so I'm stuck cropping the footage. On the upside, I did find out how to turn off the button sounds, which was a huge relief, but that's one of the only settings that you can actually change. The images are somehow both pixelated and over-sharpened, grainy even in broad daylight, and the dynamic range is just abysmal. But maybe I'm being unfair. Progress clearly put some effort into the location and the lighting for their product images. Maybe that stuff is more important than the camera settings. So I went outside and made a fairly mediocre effort to recreate that image. And maybe it's my fault, but there's clearly a huge difference in the quality. And that got me thinking, if Progress did use a different camera for those product images, which one would they use? Weirdly enough, I couldn't find any press coverage about this potential scandal, so I had to ask the company directly. And while I waited for their response, I did some more tests. I borrowed an iPhone 13 mini, which has portrait mode, but it definitely didn't look as good as Progress's, whereas a full-frame top-of-the-range camera from Panasonic with an 85mm lens opened all the way up to f1.8 was much closer. So I can't say for sure which camera they used for their product images, but I would be willing to bet so much money that it wasn't this one. So anyway, going back to my emails with customer support, I'd asked them to confirm if the sample images were taken with a more expensive camera. And they didn't directly admit it, but they said, "We are sorry there is no portrait mode, and we apologize for the confusion caused by listing images." They also offered me a full refund, but I didn't want a refund, I wanted answers. So I doubled down and said, "I'm a little concerned that it's misleading for customers if you show a portrait mode image on the back of the camera when it's not an included feature. Will the listing images be changed? Or maybe you'll add a small disclaimer so this confusion doesn't happen again?" 7 short minutes later, I got a response. "We will update the listing images based on your valuable opinion, and we apologize again for your daughter." I should explain, I don't have a daughter, but I may have bent the truth a little bit, pretending that I was concerned that my fictional daughter will blame herself for the worst images and give up on her dreams. And to their credit, Progress customer support also wrote a message for my fictional child. "Your lovely daughter has a great dream and we believe she is the best." At that point I was feeling like they're trying to sweet talk me. They'd kind of danced around the phrasing of their language to make sure they didn't take any direct blame for anything, and trying to give me a refund to kind of push the whole thing under the rug. It didn't really feel right. It's great that they said they'd changed the listing images, but so far it's been 10 days and nothing has changed. Maybe I'm overreacting. After all, the people in the reviews weren't really complaining about the video quality. The most passionate complaints were about this image from the menu of one of the games that's preloaded onto the camera. It's definitely not what you'd expect to see in the #1 listed game on a kid's toy. I'd be curious to know what you think. Am I judging this cheap camera too harshly? Has this company actually done anything wrong? And so do let me know in the comments, and I'll definitely make a follow-up video if I get any updates from Progress. But until then, thank you for being here, thanks for watching, and a big thanks to my patrons for supporting this kind of content, whatever this is, and I'll see you next time.